she's so fine. Hell of a hell of a blows my mind. Hell of a lights my day.
What's good, guys? This story came out today as well. American Airlines, lady taped to seat, alleged mental health scare. And there are a couple of videos that go with this video. A woman who allegedly had a mental health episode aboard an American Airlines flight appears to have been taped down after freaking out in the air. And the crew's drastic response is getting some side-eye. This video was captured by TikTok user at lol.ariee a few days ago during a late-night American Airlines flight that she says was taking off from the Dallas-Fort Worth airport and was in the air for about 2 hours. During that time, a situation unfolded that caused a bit of a panic. According to the TikToker, flight attendants started frantically running up and down the aisles around 1:30 a.m., locking bathroom doors and securing the scene for something that was happening up near the front. She says no one said anything, just hush-hush whispering. Eventually, she says the captain got on the intercom and told everyone to stay in their seats because of the problem toward the front, which he apparently said they were handling. When they eventually landed, this user captured the aftermath. A woman duct-taped to her seat with her mouth also taped, who was crying out as passengers passed her to deplane. As the TikTok user exited the plane, she recorded paramedics who were standing by with a stretcher. She later posted other videos saying she'd heard the woman was trying to actually get out of the plane during the flight and seemed to be having an episode of some sort. Sources familiar with the situation confirmed that latter account to us, saying the woman was indeed going ballistic. But we haven't heard about her allegedly attempting to open doors or anything. In any case, people are openly wondering if American Airlines handled this the right way. If she was actually having a breakdown of some sort, some have questioned if restraining her in that manner might actually do more harm than good. Of course, others have pointed out that in a scenario like that, the crew has to do what they must to keep people safe. As for American Airlines, a rep for the company tells us this. While in flight from Dallas-Fort Worth to Charlotte on July the 6th, the crew on board American Airlines Flight 1774 reported a potential security concern after a customer attempted to open the forward boarding door and physically assaulted, bit, and caused injury to a flight attendant, they add. For the safety and security of other customers and our crew, the individual was restrained until the flight landed at CLT and could be met by law enforcement and emergency personnel. We've also heard the woman was taken to a hospital for an evaluation and that she's on American Airlines no-fly list until further notice. The flight landed successfully without further incident. I'm going to go ahead and play the video that the TikToker took, as well as her 2 videos explaining what we are seeing, what happened, and also addressing some comments that she had gotten regarding the video.
I'll take sometimes there's some that are like, it is good.
Thank you. You. People. You are people.
Have a good one.
All right, see ya. I don't think so.
Okay, so here's the story time. We were on a flight leaving Dallas-Fort Worth that was supposed to board at 8, and we didn't board till 12 a.m. It was about a 2-hour flight, and around like 1:30, all of a sudden they start turning the lights on, and we see flight attendants running up and down the aisles frantically, kind of like, whispering to each other, like talking on the phone with somebody, just frantic, and everyone's kind of like, okay, like, now we're alert, what's going on? So the flight attendants weren't saying anything, they just kept running to first class, kind of dealing things, grabbing bags from the overhead, like, they randomly, like, locked all the bathrooms. It was just kind of like chaos, and no one really knew what was going on. So then the pilot goes over the intercom, and he makes an announcement saying, we ask that you guys please stay in your seats for the remainder of the flight unless it's an extreme emergency. We understand there's a bad situation in the plane right now, and we're working on fixing it. And then everyone's kind of panicking more, because they're like, what do you mean bad situation? Like, just poor wording on the pilot's part, because then everyone's kind of like, what the hell's going on? Worst case scenario in their head. So then we start to gradually hear more and more screaming, and we're like, wait a minute, someone's screaming. Like, we couldn't hear it before because the plane's just kind of loud, like all the noises it makes, so like you couldn't really hear the screaming. And we're like, wait a minute, somebody's screaming up there, like what the hell's going on? So we pretty much didn't know anything until we were about to land, and the flight attendant sat down near us, and someone asked her, like, hey, can you please tell us what's going on? Everyone's kind of scared, please, like, we just need some explanation. So then she started explaining that there was a passenger in the first class section that they believed had autism or schizophrenia, and she just, like, had an outburst and, like, had the urge to, like, get off the plane, and she was like, I need to get off this plane now, but, like, she was just, like, screaming, frantic. She went up to, like, the exits, and she was banging on them, saying, like, you need to let me off this plane, you need to let me off this plane, and, like, obviously they can't let her off the plane, so they were like, man, like, we need you to calm down. She wouldn't calm down, and I guess it took all 5 flight attendants to, like, subdue her and, like, literally take her down. So, yeah, they pretty much took her down, put her in the seat, and duct tape her, which just did not really sit right with me, but they did what they had to do, I guess. They couldn't make an emergency stop because our flight was already so delayed that if we made the stop, then we'd have to all get off and the flight would be canceled because they just didn't have enough time. So they pretty much subdued her until we could get to our airport, because they were like, there's not much we can do. We just need to keep her, like, from not, because she was biting and spitting and attacking people. So they were like, we need to just have her calm down, relax, and, like, that's why they had the duct tape over her mouth and the duct tape on her, because they didn't want her biting people. They didn't want her attacking people. She was attacking the flight attendants pretty much. So yeah, that's why she was subdued. I get they did what they had to do. I just feel like they should have a better way of going about it, because this is definitely not the first time it happened. So pretty much at the end of the day, she had some type of problem, and she caused her to have, like, some kind of mental breakdown, and I just feel like it was handled poorly. Like, they should definitely have a better system than what they had. And I saw a lot of comments calling, like, her a Karen, or saying, like, Karen got what she deserved. She definitely wasn't, like, a Karen, or at least did not seem to be. It was definitely like she had some sort of mental illness, and what was happening seemed like it was beyond her control. Like, she was scared, like, you could tell. That's why I feel like the situation just could have been, I don't know, I feel like they should have handled it better, just because she was, like, had some genuine fear. Like, she felt paranoid to the point where she's like, I need to be off this flight, and they kind of just, like, held her down and, like, duct taped her mouth. I don't know. I don't think she was a Karen, though. It was more serious than that.
So I personally am not one that likes to fly. I've flown many times. I used to have to fly for work, and it was always an ordeal for me because we would have to fly. I was a supervisor, and I knew going into it that I had to take 2 trips per year by plane. And I would build myself up so bad with anxiety from worrying about these trips. And they finally would let me rent a car because it was just that, it made me that anxious. I was fine flying. Long story short, I took a red eye to San Francisco, and ever since that flight, it was my first night flight. I don't know, I just can't do it. And it's heights, and I never had a problem like that before, so this happened in my adult life. But thank goodness, for medication. And my grandmother, it was so bad that my grandmother actually wanted to send me to some kind of therapy so that I could get over it. She's like, you will miss out on so much in life if you can't fly. So regardless, long story short again, I know that they're limited with what they can do in the air, really pretty much working with what they have. But this woman behaving in that manner does put all of the flyers in danger. I mean, if they had just let her go, there's no telling what she would have done. So I don't know. This one's kind of tough. Did they do the right thing? Did they handle it in the right fashion? It worked. I mean, I hate to say that, but it worked. She was still sitting there when the people were deplaning, so the duct tape actually worked. Now, that young lady didn't say anything about the biting. I don't guess she knew that, and probably the flight attendant wasn't going to tell people that either. So, regardless, I'll be interested to see what you guys think in the comments. Do you think that they handled that in the right manner? I mean, the part about the duct tape over the mouth, I don't know about that. I think that was a lot extreme, because she can't do anything really with her mouth if you're not over there by her messing around. But she can get up and run around and cause harm. Now, that is a problem. But her mouth, and then her mouth was still like that when people were deplaning. I can't get along with that. But I'm going to end the video on that note. Just let me know what you guys think in the comments. Have a great day.